Most real estate agents quit before year 2, and it's not because they can't sell. It's because they don't understand how the closing process actually works. I work with thousands of real estate agents, and some of those might sell 2 homes a year while others sell 50 a year or more. And I've talked to the agents that tend to be the most successful, have the most raving client reviews, and people that refer them business nonstop, and ask them what makes them different. What do they do that other agents don't? And this is what we've come up with. The first thing is that they are treating real estate like sales only instead of a service business. And it's really important that you don't lose sight of those critical components you learn in a real estate class, that a real estate agent is a fiduciary of their client, meaning it is your job and your legal duty at that point to put your client's best interest above your own. And everything that you're doing has to be working towards your client's best interest. And that is something that, we see in our office some agents lose sight of. They'll be pushing really aggressive closing timelines that don't allow for proper inspections, or they'll want us to close in 4 days, and that's not even enough time to get the title search and the payoff back. And we find out later it's because they have some financial motivation for it. They've got a mortgage payment due, or they want to go buy a car and they need to do it by a certain date. So they want those commissions quickly. And that is absolutely not putting your client's best interest first, because some things take time. So understanding that this is about your client, this is about service, and not just about making the sale. And this helps you then get referrals from your client. And remembering too, as part of that your clients don't want to only be sold to, they need guidance. So part of the fiduciary's role is part of making your client's interest above your own is making sure they understand what you're doing for them, what they need to do, and what it takes to get to their desired outcome. So the best agents, they think like fiduciaries and not like influencers. Another reason that we see agents fail, even if they're really good at selling, is that they have poor financial hygiene. And by that, I mean they're not saving money for taxes, they don't have a budget, they're not very good at planning for expenses, and they really just get rocked when they get their first tax bill. So I like to recommend to agents, even though I'm not one, but I've talked to lots of agents that are very successful, that they start forecasting their closings and take what's in their pipeline, forecast the closings, and run like a business. And businesses like my own, we have a forecast for what we expect for revenue, what we expect to spend every month, our cash flow projections over a rolling 12-month period. There is no reason a real estate agent can't also do that and be prepared for knowing seasonality and when you might need to be a little bit more lean in your expenses versus the months that you can spend more in advertising or whatever it may be. So get your spreadsheet, get your forecast together. There's a lot of YouTube videos that can teach you how to put together a forecast and a budget. I highly recommend it. A big thing that causes agents to fail is not understanding the legal side of the deal. And a good relationship with a closing attorney can help this a lot. And I always encourage new agents to speak up and ask questions. I prefer when you don't ask me a question like, what does the due diligence date mean? Because that's something that you learn in your real estate class. But the juicy legal questions, the situations you've never seen before, the things you don't know how to handle, call your friendly local real estate attorney and we're happy to help you. Because an agent who has more understanding of the legal issues and knows what to do when, say, an encroachment is revealed on a survey, it makes the closing process smoother and it gives your clients a lot of reassurance. Those agents that know how to handle legal issues, they address them head on, they rally the troops, they get everyone together to work on the problem. Even if the transaction had a lot of bumps, they may have a smoother closing than agents that had no legal issues but bad communication or really not understanding the process. The things that make agents freeze up are title issues, disputes over repairs, HOAs not being paid, or failure to get payoffs in time. And these are things that your closing attorney can help you understand the importance of, and then you can relay that to your client. And for example, we'll have sellers that are upset because they have to pay for the HOA transfer fees. The contract says you have to do it in North Carolina. So if a seller is refusing to pay those HOA transfer fees, your closing's going to get delayed. And when agents understand that and can help back us up and get their seller on board to do what they're contractually bound to do, then great, we've avoided a delay. But if the agents don't understand that and they just think we're being difficult and they're, saying, no, seller, you shouldn't have to do it, and then they're mad when the closing date is blown, really tough to deal with, and an indicator that you may not succeed in the business long term because you fundamentally don't understand what the contract requires of the clients and the parties. So here's the thing. To be a real estate agent, obviously you don't need to be a lawyer. you need to know when to call one. That's the big thing. Just know when it is time to call the real estate attorney and get some advice, get some direction on what to do next, or to clue in the attorney of issues that are coming that the attorney doesn't know about yet. Now, beyond the legal side of the deal, we also see agents struggle who don't understand the closing process that includes more than just the attorney, but also includes things that the attorney has to do to get the deal to the closing table. For example, an agent who doesn't understand that the attorney's office has to balance the CD with the lender, has to actually conduct a title search and solve title issues so that the buyer can get clear title. These are agents that slow down deals because they think everything should be instant. Like I mentioned with HOAs before, that's not the only thing that can slow down a deal. Obtaining payoffs is another thing. Making sure that repairs are done. All of these things must be done as part of the closing process before we can actually close. So if you are burying your head in the sand and saying, not really my problem, it'll get done if it gets done, or I'll check, a day or two before closing to make sure we're good, really not the best way to go about it, because that can lead to surprises that extend the closing date or cause the deal to fall apart. This is another place that real estate attorneys and closing attorneys can come in handy. And it's that most of the attorneys I know, including me, we love to educate on the process. And we are thrilled when an agent comes to us and they want to understand it better. When we're having to force that knowledge upon an agent, it's usually because something's gone wrong. And it is much happier and much more exciting and leads to better outcomes when we get to educate you from the beginning and help you understand the parts of the process that you don't know. And we can work hand in hand to help each other be successful. Now, this isn't a legal thing, but I have my marketing degree from undergrad, and I'm married to a marketer who lives and breathes marketing all day, every day. And this is a little bit of a pet peeve of ours, and it is just basically copy and paste marketing and lack of a unique selling proposition or unique value proposition. We see, if you are looking to buy a house or sell a house in Lake Norman, let me know. Okay, at some point that's going to be most people. Who do you help? Who do you actually want to work with? Who do you like to work with? What makes you good to work with? What do you bring to the table? Are you really skilled at working with people going through divorces who have a high net worth that live at the point? Maybe start talking to that person in your marketing. And rather than just pasting the same thing that you see everybody else sharing online, or if you're looking to buy or sell, or just only posting closing day pictures, while those closing day pictures are a good indicator that you're able to get deals to the closing table, what it doesn't tell potential future clients is what their journey will look like. It's really kind of a black hole from if you're looking to buy or sell to closing day picture. So help them understand what their process will be like and how you actually help them and what makes you different to work with compared to all the other agents that are also posting if you're looking to buy or sell and closing day pictures. And the last thing that we see agents that tend to not make it is that they have a lack of systems. And I certainly believe that if you don't have systems, you're unlikely to be able to scale or build a team. But I think solos need systems too. And it's just like if you've read the checklist manifesto, just like the pilot who's maybe been flying 30 years still goes through their checklist, agents think the same way of making sure that you're hitting everything that you need to throughout the process. And it's not just checklists. It could be, the way you calendar things, the way that you have automated reminders to your clients, how you follow up with leads, how you reach out to past clients to encourage future referrals. These types of systems will help you continue to make this a business and not just something that you did on a whim hoping that you could make quick money. It can turn into a real career that sustains you and your family for a long time, but systems really help you get there. Look, I love talking to real estate agents about the closing process, about, all types of education to help you have smoother closings, to get better at your job, to help your buyers understand different processes and legal concepts in North Carolina. So YouTube recommends you watch this video if you want to keep learning more about real estate.